And my message to any state or any other hostile actor thinking about attacking Israel remains the same as it was a week ago. Don't.
He just did don't again. He just did that a little while ago. Now he did don't on 60 Minutes with his friend Scott Pelley. And he just did don't again. Not exactly an articulate man. Politics, not so long ago, attracted people that were well-spoken. Not really the case anymore. But John Berman at CNN, he's pretty well-spoken. He's an anchor man and a Democrat Party apparatchik. He's on CNN, and he just minutes ago, CNN got a hold of audio tape and audio recording, and I want to share with you what CNN just aired with their anchorman, John Berman. And let me explain just a little bit before I play it for you. The audio tape is purportedly of a couple of Hamas operatives. It's a communication between two Hamas terrorists. And when the hospital blew up, one Hamas operative asks the other Hamas operative by way of electronic communication, thus the recording, was that one of ours? He said, is it from us? It looks like it. So these two Hamas terrorist, blood-drenched ghouls from hell are squawking back and forth at one another. And when the hospital blew up, they can tell what direction the missile came from. They know where Israel is and where the Israeli weapons are coming from, and they know where their own weapons are coming from being fired at Israel in an effort to kill civilians, and only civilians, but just don't kill any Palestinian civilians because their lives are precious. You know, it's back to the Democrat Party thing. Some lives matter. Some black lives matter. Some, no baby lives matter. But here's the CNN moment with John Berman just minutes ago, where they're slapping themselves on the forehead, on their foreheads with the heel of their hands because, here's the recording, and of course it's in Arabic, so you don't hear it, but they've got the translation, and Berman does the intro.
The IDF, the Israel Defense Forces, released evidence overnight that they say proves that this explosion was the result of an errant rocket fired by Islamic Jihad. That is a terror group that operates within Gaza. This is some video of the explosion. Part of the intel, and I should say that Lieutenant General Mark Hertling is with us here right now, part of the intel released by the IDF was an audio recording that they say was between Hamas operatives. We can't independently verify the authenticity of this, but they say this was the conversation immediately after this alleged rocket hit right there. We're going to play this and show you the transcript full right now. Let's listen.
I'm going to show you the transcript. They got the font.
They are saying it belongs to Palestinian Islamic Jihad. It's from us. It looks like it. Who says this? They are saying that the shrapnel from the missile is local shrapnel and not Israeli shrapnel.
The shrapnel.
And that's a portion of what IDF has released of what they say is an intercepted, obviously, communication between two Hamas operatives.
Two Hamas operatives and Babu, is that from us? It looks like our local shrapnel. They know what their local shrapnel looks like because they make the missiles there and they make the warheads there, and because they're very crafty, very, very ingenious. Also, I was looking this morning, so that is pretty substantial stuff from the Israeli military intercepts, and the left would just say, well, I don't believe it because they're Jews and they don't believe it. And that's what the left does. That's what the left is doing. I was watching the television this morning, and there was a reporter coming live from Tel Aviv, which is along the beautiful Mediterranean shores of Israel. And the other camera was a fixed camera looking at Gaza City. And everybody loves to say there's smoke rising. Of course, there's smoke rising. And there's a war going on and everything. And here's Tel Aviv, and in the background, Tel Aviv. My best girl and I stayed at a hotel right on the beach in Tel Aviv, and it has kind of a rainbow front, multicolored front. And we're like, we'll stay there anyway, And it's right across from the beach. And the person coming live from Tel Aviv, behind the woman was the most colorful backdrop you've seen anywhere. Just a yellow building, an orange building, a red building, a blue building, a green building, and it was all beautiful and clean and shiny. And then the static camera looking at Gaza City, having nothing to do with the smoke rising. It looked like it was in black and white. It is a filth, soot-covered city that no one has bothered to clean since the buildings went up. And, not with their own engineering prowess or their own construction companies, but pay no attention to that. One picture, Gaza City, looked like it was in black and white. The other picture, Tel Aviv, looked like it was Disneyland before they got crazy, the Disney Corporation. And that is symbolic of, representative of, and revealing of the cultural differences between Israel and the Gaza Strip. Now, again, the Palestinians, the Gaza Strip, 26 miles of Mediterranean coastline that should be a resort paradise for everyone. All the Palestinians could go there and wear bikinis and Speedos and, get henna tattoos and have a nice time and meet the girls. But instead, they work their fingers to gnarled nubs in the basements of hellhole buildings, making weapons with which to murder people. And, of course, their culture has slipped into a sinkhole and is a dirty, rotten, murderous, filthy, medieval culture. And I'd like to apologize to the Middle Ages because. But there it is, Israeli intent, and CNN were like, well, we can't independently confirm this. And, the Jews, they lie. I think John Berman is Jewish himself, but, that doesn't mean that he's not on the side of the terrorists. There's a lot of people that call themselves liberals are on the wrong side of history, as Barack Obama used to like to say. The arc of history is a scimitar over there. That's a long curved sword. It's a sword. All right, let's go, because we've got the radical lefties here in the United States that say we, the United States of America, have to start taking in large numbers of refugees. And, the death squad, the Hamas squad, the jihad squad, the Democrats on Capitol Hill, they keep squawking that we need to take in refugees from what they call Palestine because, who else can take them if not us? Well, why not Egypt? Why not open the Rafah crossing on the south end of the Gaza Strip and allow people to flee into Israel? It's just the Sinai Peninsula. It's a big sandbox. Probably can't do much harm there. But the Egyptians, General al-Sisi, President al-Sisi, he will not allow the so-called Palestinians to come into Egypt. Why? Gosh. Well, how about King Abdullah of Jordan? Because he's one of the good guys. Surely he'll take in his Arab brethren, his Muslim brethren. Well, here is Jordan's King Abdullah yesterday on the question of refugees.
On the issues of refugees coming to Jordan, and I think I can quite strongly speak on behalf not only of Jordan as a nation, but of our friends in Egypt, that is a red line. Because I think that is the plan by certain of the usual suspects to try and create de facto issues on the ground.
You see, that's a red line. So there is his answer is clear. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No refugees, because he knows that the people behind this effort are actually trying to stir up trouble and dissent because, you see, in that region of the world, the Egyptians, the Jordanians, even the Syrians, the Lebanese, view the so-called Palestinians as big trouble all the time. Big, big trouble. That's the thing about the Palestinians, is that they have a reputation, and it's not a positive reputation by any stretch of the imagination. And, King Abdullah is not a dumb man. He's a very smart man, and he's more articulate than Joe Biden, even when speaking English. He's more articulate than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. He's a lot less crazy than Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar. He is, lucky to have him in Jordan, at least. And it's too bad that the meeting was canceled yesterday, but there you have it. But he has a very definite position on accepting refugees. Hell no. Now, here in the United States, of course, you've got WPDE, squad member says U.S. should, quote, welcome, end quote, Palestinian refugees. That's right. We should welcome the Palestinian refugees because Jamal Bowman, who is a radical left-wing extremist and an anti-American radical, says, oh, yeah, we should be welcoming refugees from the hotbed of terror, radical Islamic jihadi terror. And then Jamal Bowman pulled a fire alarm and ran away like an idiot high school kid. Because that's what he did. Yeah, it's all over the country that Jamal Bowman saying we should welcome refugees. Progressives call for U.S. to take refugees from Gaza. The New York Post, because they're not on our side. Experts predict 1 million refugees might flee the Gaza Strip amid the war between Israel and Hamas, and socialists and far left-wing lawmakers said America should welcome them. This is the New York Post. 50% of the population of Gaza are children. They always love the children. Then they can't wait to abort them all and harvest their organs. The international community, as well as the United States, should be prepared to welcome refugees from Palestine while being very careful to vet, just like we do at our southern border, and not allow members of Hamas, said Jamal Bowman, a New York congressman, member of the Socialist Democrat Party like Bernie Sanders. And they're the ones staging the pro-Hamas rallies in New York and on campuses and beyond. And these radicals, these extremists, the squad, the death squad, the jihad squad. What do you like better, the jihad squad? The death squad is not as current, not as contemporary. I think maybe the jihad squad, it has a certain tonal quality, I think, for the Democrat Party. Just remarkable times. Your Democrat Party, they're not democratic. King Abdullah of Jordan, and he's making it clear nobody wants these people.
No refugees in Jordan, no refugees in Egypt. This is a situation of humanitarian dimension that has to be dealt inside of Gaza and the West Bank, and not to try and push the Palestinian challenge and their future onto other people's shoulders.
Don't push it off. But the left here wants more radical Islamic terrorism in the United States. They want more jihad in the United States. They want more murder. They want more death. They're the left. They kill faster than anyone. Just amazing. Now, he said it should remain in the Gaza. The problem should remain in the Gaza and the West Bank. And he's there with General al-Sisi from Egypt, and when he said that no refugees for Jordan, no refugees for Egypt. Lebanon doesn't want them. Lebanon's not going to accept them. Syria is a war zone, too, because the whole region is a beep hole. And so we got that going. For Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, who is purportedly running for the presidency of the United States as well. He was on the television last night. And, hey, King Abdullah doesn't want him. What the heck? King Abdullah.
You hear people in the United States, and you played a clip saying we're supposed to import the Arab countries that are supposed to be always holding up the Palestinian Arabs. They won't accept a single one of them. Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, none of them will accept any of them. And part of the reason is because I think that they're concerned about what importing large numbers of those folks would mean for their own country. So how come they can be concerned about that, but somehow elites in the United States say we can't be concerned about that?
I think that the reason they're concerned, King Abdullah and General al-Sisi, is because they know better. They know their neighborhood. They know the Palestinians. They know what their reputation is. And you know how they got that reputation? Generations of murder and mayhem. It's like, don't say gypsy moth. Well, when you stop fleecing everybody, don't say, are we insulting the moth? They think gypsy is a slur. Gypsies have earned a reputation over the centuries. I've had a couple of attempted gypsy scams perpetrated on me. They never got away with it. I still have the ring from Paris and the gypsies there. And the Palestinians have a well-deserved and earned reputation, which is why Egypt locks the door. They use a wall of fence, which only works there but doesn't work here. Oh, what a world, what a world. Hey, it's Chris Plant, excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Book by this July 31st for extra savings. Visit ChrisPlantCruise.com. Now, the New York Times, which you shouldn't believe at all, don't even believe the headlines. Don't believe that it's from New York. Their first headline yesterday afternoon was, Israeli strike kills hundreds in hospital, comma, Palestinians say. That's, well, you can just, if you can't take their word for it. Israeli strike kills hundreds in hospital, comma, Palestinians say. At least 500 dead in Gaza attack as Biden prepares for a visit to Israel. Then they updated their headline, at least 500 died in blasts at Gaza hospital. But what happened to the Israeli strike part of it? Well, now the Wall Street Journal is reporting just moments ago, U.S. intelligence shows Gaza militants behind hospital blasts. Deadly blast provokes protests, anger in Middle East, and complicates Biden's visit. U.S. intelligence has collected high-confidence signals intelligence, electronic intelligence, showing that the explosion at the Gaza hospital compound on Tuesday was caused by the militant group Palestinian Islamic Jihad, not to be confused with the other Islamic Jihad groups. U.S. officials said, buttressing Israel's contention that it wasn't responsible for the blast. The U.S. assessment drew in part on communications intercepts and other intelligence gathered by the U.S. Our current assessment, based on our analysis of overhead imagery, intercepts, and source information, you get it. Toe the line. Love isn't always on time. But if you put it in the nose cone of a missile, it can get there faster. Yes, so now U.S. intelligence confirms or corroborates what Israeli intelligence is saying, and they're providing intercepts, and U.S. intelligence, we're everywhere. You know, we spend trillions and we do amazing things. But the U.S. assessment drew in part on communications intercepts and other intelligence gathered by the U.S., according to American defense officials. And our current assessment in the United States, based on analysis of overhead imagery, that satellites and all kinds of overhead stuff that we have, intercepts, we listen to all their communications just like the intelligence community listens to all of our communications and collects it all and then lies to us about it. And open source information is that Israel is not responsible for the explosion at the hospital in Gaza. This is a quote in the Wall Street Journal piece just popped minutes ago. White House National Security Council spokeswoman Adrienne Watson said, adding that the U.S. continues to collect information on the incident, as you might expect. And here in the United States of America, there are a lot of lefties that are virulent anti-Semites. It's kind of an amazing thing to see, but it's real. For example, there is a professor at the School of Art, the School of the Art Institute in Chicago, and the Chicago Art Institute is a very serious institution. I say that as someone that grew up in Chicago. And here is the professor, because this is what you get from professors now. Mika Tosca. Mika, like Mika Brzezinski. Tosca, like, the opera. Mika Tosca, associate professor, the School of Art Institute in Chicago, printed this, posted it. Israelis are pigs, savages, very, very bad people. Sounds almost like satire. Very, very bad people. Israelis are pigs, savages. They're the savages here. Very, very bad people. Irredeemable excrement. The propaganda has been downright evil. After the past week, if your eyes aren't open to the crimes against humanity that Israel is committing and has committed for decades and will continue to commit, then I suggest you open them. It's disgusting and grotesque. May they all rot in hell. Professor, I was just asking a question about the painting. But thank you. This is what, and here's what you need to know about Dr. Mika Tosca. He's a Democrat. He self-describes as a liberal. He's a professor in the Art School of Chicago, the Art Institute, School of the Art Institute in Chicago. Now, I assume there are Jewish students there, and Professor Mika is a woman who looks kind of mannish, actually. She's got some mannish stuff going on. But with Democrats these days, that's a sliding thing. Yeah, the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. And she came out of the University of California at Irvine. She is an academic. She is evil. She is the bad guy. And she's a Democrat. Let there be no mistake about that. Now, Lester Holt talked about it. That was this morning, or was it last night? It was this morning. Lester Holt was up early this morning. Nobody knows why. Hezbollah calling for it. Now, this is the radical Islamic terrorist army in Lebanon, not in the Gaza Strip or in Syria or in Egypt. But there are a lot of different radical Islamic jihadi armies that are armed to the teeth and can't wait to murder everybody, which, makes it a very unfortunate circumstance. Hezbollah is calling for a day of unprecedented anger. Last Friday was the day of global jihad, the day of global rage, right? And some people were killed, but probably didn't get all the murders they had been hoping for. And now Hezbollah, this is today, while Joe Biden is in Israel. The Post-Millennial has the story, but the Washington Post doesn't because they're not a legitimate newspaper. So Hezbollah called for a day of unprecedented anger. I don't think that they could really dial up the anger any more than they have in the past. I don't know how you could make it unprecedented, but, Jihad Day again, another day of rage and jihad. You guys are almost as bad as leftists. What's the matter with you people? Speaking of which, in Washington, D.C., every day is a day of rage. And the Washington Post reluctantly published a story online today. I don't think it's in the hard copy of the paper. D.C. records 4 homicides in 24 hours as killings continue to climb. Have you ever noticed that killings never decline? They always climb. They always increase. The number never decreases. Almost never, anyway. Yeah, and Peter Herman type, 3 men were fatally shot, and another man was found bludgeoned to death in an alley during a violent 24-hour stretch in the District of Columbia that began Monday afternoon. 4 killings appeared to be unrelated, police said, and occurred in 3 of the city's 4 quadrants. Well, you want to spread these things out, I think. From the Benning Road neighborhood in southeast Washington, to the edge of Capitol Hill in northeast Washington, D.C., up to Brightwood in northwest. We're in northwest right now. As of Tuesday afternoon, police said they have not made any arrests in any of the killings. Authorities released few details and did not comment on possible motives, but they did note all the killers they're looking for are Democrats. All right, they didn't really, but I did. I just threw that in. And certainly it will turn out to be the case. There have now been more than 222 criminal homicides in the District of Columbia this year, a 35% increase over this time in 2022, according to police statistics. D.C. surpassed 200 killings on August 12th, the earliest point since 1997. Sure, there you go. The latest incident occurred a few minutes before noon on Tuesday. Now, this is just Washington, D.C. Police say they found a man shot inside a vehicle, the 4100 block of East Capitol Street Southeast in the Benning neighborhood. Police said the man died at the scene. His name has not been released. So we've got, this is the Democrats running our cities into the side of mountains. People are afraid to come into Washington, D.C., live in Virginia or Maryland. People just aren't coming in. People are leaving the city. That doesn't mean real estate values are going down, though. And, the Democrats, when they run the White House, you get war all over the world. When they run the city, you get a war zone in your city. How about Chicago? I didn't even check maybe I did check the weekend Chicago crime and shooting and murder numbers. I think it was like 22 and 4 or something like that. All right, let's get back to, I was just talking about the professors and the hate, the racism, the anti-Semitism. And I've got another one for you because, they love the hate. These lefties, they love the hate, and they're just the most hate-filled people living among us. They call themselves liberals, but they're not liberals. They're the left. And murder is their bag, baby. And I was sharing you with the Chicago professor at the Art Institute of Chicago. What a disgrace. A mannish-looking woman from University of California at Irvine who is a genocidal racist, right? A genocidal racist. Now, let's go to number 10. Soundbite number 10. Students at New York University, NYU, yesterday. There are a lot of Jewish people in New York. I don't know if you're aware of that, but there are a lot of Jewish people in New York. And, in fact, I think New York City has the largest Jewish population of any city in the world outside of Israel, outside of Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. And here are the students yesterday at the liberal left-wing New York University chanting, the usual genocidal anti-Semitic hate stuff. Israel, go to hell, and was it globalize the intifada or localize the intifada? The intifada that resisted the violent, the jihad, the uprising.
Globalize the intifada.
Yeah, globalize the intifada? Yeah, okay. Anybody, Second Amendment, does the Second Amendment ever come to mind in moments like this? Because the Democrat Party wants to import, the Jihad Squad wants to import a million Palestinians. Oh, we'll vet them just like we do at the southern border, where we've had literally thousands and thousands of people come from Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, just walk in across our southern border, just the ones that we've nabbed. Forget about the millions that we haven't nabbed. So that's New York University. Israel, go to hell, globalize the intifada. The Crusades are not over. The Cold War is not over. But Western civilization is on the ropes now, and our leadership is the weakest, perhaps, that it has ever been. Now, let's go from New York to Washington, D.C. The students at the George Washington University, right here in our nation's capital, chanting, "All the Jews must be killed. Israel must be wiped off the face of the map."
Israel, Israel, you will learn.
Israel, Israel, you will learn.
For the millions will return.
By the millions will return. From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
There is a great war coming, and it's important to choose sides. Know what side you're on the side of civilization or of the opposite of civilization. From the river to the sea, which is the chant of the genocidal anti-Semites who would destroy the state of Israel, completely wipe it off the map, push all the Jews into the sea, and kill them. That's what's going on the planet Earth and in the United States of America on college campuses. And I've been, I'm not alone, but I've been warning anyone that would listen about what's going on college campuses in the United States and what the left has been doing for generations now on college campuses. We, I think, as a matter of national security, should shut down every university in the United States of America. And the District of Columbia should have home rule taken away and given back to Congress, because home rule hasn't worked out in Washington, D.C. And the Gaza Strip hasn't worked out for the Palestinians. It's time we learned lessons. You're shaking your head. All right, let's go to the professor at Cornell University, because honestly, at what point do we don't control our border, and the numbers are absolutely astonishing. The thousands and thousands and thousands of people that we've nabbed coming across our border from Afghanistan, from Iran. Just the other day, more from Iran. I think 4 from Iran. Maybe it was just 2 in one day. But honestly, our border is wide open. Jihadis are flowing in. The Democrats want to bring in 1 million Palestinian terrorists because they're not on our side. In Ithaca, New York, they have a university named Cornell University. They have a professor there who's a liberal and self-describes as a Democrat and a liberal, but he's a leftist, and he's a genocidal anti-Semite, and his name is Russell Rickford. He's a person of color, and he was at a rally speaking at a podium with a microphone on a riser, explaining how he felt about the massacre of Jews, of women, of the rape, of the baby murder, which, they love in all its forms. And here is Cornell University professor Russell Rickford.
It was exhilarating. It was energizing. And if they weren't exhilarated by this challenge to the monopoly of violence, by this shifting of the balance of power, then they would not be human. I was exhilarated.
He was exhilarated. He found it exhilarating. He was energized by the murder of all the Jews. And if you don't find it exhilarating, and if you're not energized by the murder of the Jews, then you're the problem. Russell Rickford is his name. Cornell University students called for action against professor who was exhilarated by Hamas's attack. The New York Post has the story, but the Washington Post doesn't, because it's not a newspaper. Now, the murder rate in Washington, D.C. is at a 25-year high, 26-year high. But the police are bragging about diversity, the police force, because Democrats are in charge, and they're very happy to report that they were engaged in a major effort to make the police force more diverse. They can't recruit anybody to join the police force, and people are retiring at a record rate. But, over the past 12 months, they're very excited to announce that They have met their initial goal. 32% of our recruits over the past 12 months have been women. That'd be good. I spent several days in riots in Mount Pleasant in Washington, D.C. after a female police officer was beat up by a drunk illegal alien, and the woman then shot him. And when she shot the illegal alien, it turned into days of riots in my neighborhood at that time. I was out there covering it in the tear gas for CNN. It was a lot of fun. You know, riots are kind of fun. But they've diversified DEI. And, the homicide rate. Never mind that. We've got a diverse police force. It's time for Congress to take home rule away from Washington, D.C. Joe Biden in Israel today. He's not a smart man.
Like the entire world, I was outraged and saddened by the enormous loss of life yesterday in the hospital in Gaza. Based on the information we've seen to date, it appears the result of an errant rocket fired by a terrorist group in Gaza. The United States unequivocally stands for the protection of civilian life during conflict, and I truly grieve for the families who were killed or wounded by this tragedy.
He's very sincere. They put a microphone close to him this time, which is an improvement.
The people of Gaza need food, water, medicine, shelter.
Because of their leaders.
Today I asked the Israeli cabinet, who I met with for some time this morning, to agree to the delivery of life-saving humanitarian assistance to civilians in Gaza.
Feed the terrorists.
Based on the understanding that there will be inspections and that the aid should go to civilians, not to Hamas.
Sure, that ought to work.
Israel agreed the humanitarian assistance can begin to move from Egypt to Gaza. But let me be clear. If Hamas diverts or steals the assistance, they will have demonstrated once again that they have no concern for the welfare of the Palestinian people.
As if we need them to demonstrate that again. He didn't say there would be any punishment. They're just, hey, go ahead and steal all this stuff because there will be no consequences.
I'm here to tell you the terrorists will not win. Freedom will win.
Well, with you at the helm, I'm concerned for freedom at this point. Genuinely and sincerely concerned for freedom. We have, I'm sorry I can't get any more calls. They gave us too much stuff again. But Carter Rock is calling in from the Israeli embassy, from outside of the Israeli embassy. Wanted to report that there are no, at the moment, pro-Hamas people outside the Israeli embassy. But, it's a city full of Democrats and people that call themselves liberals, so they're genocidal anti-Semites.